So really pleased that we got some nice weather, because I've been able to weed whack the whole backyard. I've just gotten down to that corner and it's all done. Now I've got to go do the front, and then I'll rake all this up. Ugh. It was another nice sunny day. I managed to get some of the framing done. I did that bit first to fit in between that beam and this beam, and nothing's attached yet. This is just a nice snug fit underneath the beam that's there. Then I did this shorter section. It's down a little bit because of the pipe that comes out across it there, and that position there is basically in line with here, so I can frame across here as well once that's set to basically make this more of a cabinet area. And I think I said it before, we're going to do some storage in above here, so I'll probably put a section maybe here and below the pipes up top, just to have somewhere to store things for the laundry, whatever. This little section is attached to this little section by these little noggins here. I've still got to do my half height noggins, 1200 just here, so that's where the sheets are basically overlap. I'm gonna have to get the electrician in once I get all the framing along to basically reroute this stuff here. Not exactly sure where we're gonna have power points, because we have got a little bar fridge to go in this area. This whole side's meant to be cabinetry, so like a long counter with cabinets, and then some up high cabinets, so power will also be along this height here. I was about to start doing this section, but there was still a remnant piece of timber attached to the top of that beam from the old wall that was dividing wall in here, and it was a lot wider than the beams, so I had to pull that down and prod that down because it stuck out too far this way for setting up the frame. But at the same time as I was doing all of this, we've been trying to get our NBN connected. After contacting them, they sent us our special NBN connection box, and so we tried it. They sent it back in early July, and we tried it, followed all the instructions, and it didn't work. So we disconnected it and just put the ADSL back on. And then we tried it again, because they sent us a message saying, oh, you're ready, your new service should be ready to go. So we tried it again, didn't work, disconnected it again. About a week later, your new service should be ready to run. So today I tried connecting it again and just left it sitting there, and it just kept, like, the lights were flashing, but nothing was connecting, nothing happening. Finally, I tried getting Telstra's app for getting onto them can be good, but most of the time it's rubbish. You get a message saying, just finishing out with this customer and I'll be with you. So they got through to me, they got me on to somebody rather than going through the automated thing. So that was good. But I thought, fine. And they said, you can go about your work and we'll contact you. After 2 hours, I still hadn't heard, and that's when I was doing all of this. And so I was about to start that, and I went, this is getting ridiculous. I went up to check the router. It was still doing nothing. So I ended up finally being able to get onto technical support. And they said September 1st is meant to be our acceptance day, and that's when it actually gets switched on and the ADSL gets switched off. And the other person that I was texting with was saying, oh, well, you've got a technician coming out on the 1st. And I said, well, we don't want a technician coming out. We don't want somebody coming into the house, basically. Especially if it's supposed to be DIY. And it was. And it followed all the instructions. I reconnected the ADSL. Internet's back on because I need it tomorrow night for uni. So I asked them, should I just leave the ADSL? We don't want the technician coming. They said, no, that's fine. We said that we cancelled that. I said, so if I go to work on the 1st and then put the new NBN box on when I get home from work, it should switch over then. And they said, yes. So that's what I'm going to try and do. Keep you updated with whether that works. But this was good to get this done. I wish I'd gotten the noggins done. Having that mess around with Telstra kind of slowed that process a bit because I was going to start doing all the noggins and anyway, yeah. But that's a start. And nothing's bolted to the concrete yet because I want to get this one on so that I can make sure that I've got a nice level flat plane across the whole lot. So far these two are in a flat plane. I'm pretty sure they're plumb unless I bumped them. So that one's the next one. That's a little bit over 8 foot long. So that's been the weekend. Yard work and this. And some stuff for uni, which I've got to go and do more of. There you go. I just finished with year 11. Had them twice today with them trying to get cluster A finished. And I had year 12 and there's a couple of students who are up to date and so they've been working on cluster B, which was the formwork, and that's all level. I've got to do some other level checks, which I've got to get the water level in and the dumpy level, and I've got to see if I can buy a new laser level for them to check as well. I said to them tomorrow they can do some levelling out, get the Rio in, do those level checks. We should be able to do concreting next week. Fingers crossed. So plumber's been and gone. He was here a lot longer than expected. I've got my hot and cold connections there. I took the plasterboard off here so they could work there easier. So hot and cold connections ready. I just got the heater going here to sort of dry up a bit of the water that went everywhere. Extended my hot and cold lines down for the laundry tub. They just come down here so they're down below the top of the washing machine. New connections here that go through to the outside. 2 taps here, cold on the right, hot on the left, and this is so I can hook up a hot and cold with maybe a mixer tap for washing the dogs outside. Or for future there's a hot water connection for hot tubs or something like that could be put outside. We were talking about that at one point. And he's run the hot and cold line up here, over the top, down the other side of the pylon. It comes down along here, and I've got my hot and colds just here for the new position for the laundry tub, which is basically in front of this window. Called a laundry tub, but it's really just a big, deep double sink. I need to get my little waste into the vanity sink, get some silicone into that and give it a chance to cure. I never made it to work, unfortunately. he was here a bit longer than expected, like when he was here for a bit longer than expected to start with. But then when he came in to test the water, he turned the water back on. They got to do a check for leaks. And we spotted a leak here at the hot line and a slight one at the cold line, where the lines are running outside, but it was in the inside joins. So I had to turn the water off again and redo a bit of that. And so he didn't end up leaving here till about 1:20, and because I'm an hour's drive from work, my last class for the day, which was year 12, and I wanted to try and be there, was at 2. But by the time I got there, there'd be no time to do anything, and I didn't want to take a chance of rushing and thinking of speeding. So I had basically said that I would be out for the day, might make it in, but I didn't make it. Anyway, so a few things to get on with here. We buy some more supplies for doing this area, getting it ready. And I was planning on sort of stopping at Bunnings on the way home from work today to get a few things. But now that I haven't gone out at all, at 10 to 3, if I get enough figured out, I could probably go out tonight, and that way I've got it all ready for tomorrow morning, because tomorrow's Saturday, rather than going out tomorrow morning, which that's what I think I'll try and do. Made that trip down to Bunnings and got some of the stuff I needed. It's meant to be fine on the weekend, so do my best to get into the stuff as early as I can in the morning. And Bunnings they shut early now because of COVID. 7 o'clock is early. They used to be open till 9. A little bit after 7 now, but I was heading to the register at 7, before 7. I really do appreciate their effort. Just about every employee in there had a mask on, and they repeatedly had like things over the speaker system about maintaining social distance and being respectful to workers and other shoppers and that sort of thing, and people were being. They still got all the registers sort of spaced out and little marks on the floor, that sort of thing. I wanted to try and get a little bit of video inside the store of that, but I was in a rush, bolting around trying to get what I needed. And young black snake in the front yard. I'm just waiting on wires to arrive. They said keep an eye on him. He was right up on the front of the street, up near the van and everything like before. When I came to double check on where he was, he's down the driveway. So I'm trying to keep an eye on him. It's a fairly warm day, so he's pretty active. It's only about 3 foot long. Yeah, he's pretty active and moving around. Wise has just arrived. Spent the day working down in the laundry, getting stuff kind of ready for the sink, and I'll show you that when I get back. It's getting some drainage put in and whatnot. Had a guy who wanted to buy the weather shields for the old Suzuki. I haven't had them on the Suzuki for ages because my wife doesn't like them. Block your vision a bit. They kind of distort your vision out the window. I lowered the price to sell them, and this guy had messaged me, and he'd messaged me once before asking about them, and I told him that they probably wouldn't fit his Suzuki because his was an older model. But he decided to come for a drive anyway, all the way from Campbelltown. It's like an hour and a half, hour and 3/4 away. And he just wanted to double check. He said, I'll check it on against it. So when he got there, I got him out. And he put them up against the door, and sure enough, they wouldn't fit. He had a 93 model, and the Suzuki I've got was a model that ran from 98 to 2005. And they really changed the shape of the doors. Anyway, we then had the little thing with the snake, and wires came, and as soon as the snake heard them, it shot through the fence into the neighbour's yard, and we couldn't find it. Which I'm a little concerned about because they've got dogs as well. But anyway, looked only like a youngster. It was about 3 foot long. Because the weather's nice, we wanted to come for a walk. Lucky's legs are getting really bad. His hind legs barely hold him up anymore. Every time we take him out in the yard, he sort of stumbles and stuff. So my wife bought me this thing you can see hanging over me. There's Lucky. There we go. There's Sam. Sam gets to actually walk at a decent pace. I basically walk along, get Lucky out every now and then so he can have a bit of a sniff on the ground. But when I first put him on it, it's the first time I've used this. I first put him in it and he stuck his head down and curled up. And then I think I've still got to adjust the strap better. Put his sort of front legs down there. It's funny because I used to always make fun of people you would see in magazines and on the internet carrying their chihuahua in a little purse or something like that. But this is getting him out. He's enjoying the view. I've noticed he's sort of looking around. And I'll put him down every now and then. It's a better pace, mate. Get some exercise. No, that guy's going the other way. Like, Sam's loving the walk, but he seems a little bit concerned. We just passed a guy coming the other way. He asked me if I'd seen a big white greyhound, because he said he ran off on the other side of the pond, because there's this big pond just down in the gully over that way. Back when these boys were a lot younger, so was I, we walked all the way down to this pond. The walk went for like 2.5 hours, 3 hours. Had one of my other dogs back then too. It's a nice waterhole. Currently walking past the last house on the street. So that was the property we just walked past. That's their end corner. And then this road down here, dirt road, goes down towards the waterhole. That one, I don't know about, never been up it. I might go down this one just a little bit. I'll show you what it's like. This is a fire trail area. As you can see, there's tyre marks, because people do four-wheel drive down here. I really wanted to bring the Suzuki out here once, but never did. It would have been perfect coming down here. Short wheelbase, good clearance. I think going down's not the hard part, it's going to be walking back up. It's easy for lucky. Yeah. This here is obviously like the original gate to try and keep people out of the national park, because this is the national park, this area just here. I think it's considered national park in between each of the streets and stuff, because it's just bush. And the fire trails would usually be fenced off like that, gated off. And I think there's been a lot of things to try and get them unlocked, keep them unlocked and available for the public. This hill is quite steep. It looks like there's been a bit of washout down here. Fallen tree. You doing all right, Sam? Biggest walk in a long time for both of us. I put Lucky down on the ground to see if he wanted to sniff around. His back legs just weren't into it. He seems happy once I put him back in the bag. He seems okay with this bag. He slumps his head over sometimes, but I think that's more to do with his age than anything else. I've noticed him sniffing, and I think he likes that he can see above the grass. And Sam's pace is certainly a lot better than we'd all be walking. Sun's going down, so it's starting to actually get a little bit chillier. I can feel Lucky shivering a little bit, so we're not far from the truck. Should have changed out of my good shoes first. I'm going to get out of my good shoes, tape and mud these two joints tonight, and then they can dry overnight so I can paint the plasterboard. Should be able to get a coat of primer and maybe one coat of white semi-gloss onto it. At least primer to protect the plasterboard before putting the cabinet in. I've still got to drill holes out the back for the tap. I can do that while paint's drying tomorrow, but I'll get this plastering done tonight so that I can continue on tomorrow. So got those done, just a thin layer there, finish layer in the corners. The idea of doing that is just so the corner is sealed, so you won't have any bugs or anything come in behind the cabinet, from the corner anyway. So that's sealed. Hopefully it will dry. Kind of cold. I'll see what it looks like in the morning. Hopefully I can do that. I know I've got to drill the holes in the back of this, and I've got them marked already. And if not, I've got the extra wall frame to do down the other end of the room. I started putting these rollers in here for the door, just to check the height and everything like that. Door's got to be painted before I can install it, otherwise it's not really sealed on the outside. So I could do that tomorrow, since I'm going to have paint out maybe. Talk to my wife today about sliding the pocket door, similar to this one, but a little bit like a standard width, going in the other end to go through to the next room from the laundry. And I wasn't sure what side of the space I was going to put it on, and we decided putting it on the same space as this door, so that the pocket doors slide out in the same direction from the room. So if you're walking from here to there, or you'd know which way it's going to go, type thing. And I've got to think about putting that pocket door in down that end, because then I've got to put a small strip next to that. I'll show you what I'm thinking here. So here's the pocket door frame. At the back end here, in line with the beam, the plasterboard will go up here and across that beam, so it'll just be a plasterboard wall. I need it set here so that I can have the extra strip of timber for this, so the plasterboard goes and stops there. I really don't think I'm going to get plasterboard onto this wall today. I've got my pipe installed for the drain for the new sink. Pipe installed here, that's going to go across and have an outlet for the washer. I use a grey water hose and just send it out into the yard, and I keep moving it around so different areas of the yard get the benefit of the water. But I do want to have an outlet that goes into the drainage system.